It was the last Saturday evening before Christmas, a pretty busy shopping day, when I paid a return visit to New Horizon Mall. The last time I was here, I made a video about my experience. A few of the more than 355,000 people who watched it were critical about the way I talked about the mall and the footage I decided to include in the video. Some commenters said my description and footage, as well as the time of day on which I visited, portrayed the mall unfairly and inaccurately. One of those commenters was Cory Gross. Cory is the owner of Monster Kid Boo-tique, a store that specializes in horror and tiki memorabilia and has been open in the mall since April of 2022.
So my store is basically just all of the nerdy retro sort of horror and tiki stuff that I'm into, and hoping that there's at least a good number of other people here in Calgary who are interested in this sort of stuff, and having a source to pick up classic horror, tiki mugs, goth fashion, that sort of thing.
I want to make it clear here that Cory isn't speaking on behalf of the mall, his fellow store owners, or any other stakeholder. He's just sharing his perspective on what it's like to run a business at the mall and his thoughts on how the mall has been previously represented. Cory had some thoughts on the way the mall is popularly portrayed, including the way I characterized it in my previous video, and he was good enough to agree to share his perspective with me on camera.
What caused me to comment on your video, I guess, was knowing the layout of the mall and being able to track exactly which route you took through it, which was basically the route through the least populated aisles. So that central aisle is full, and then it's been filling out in each aisle going out from there. So the furthest outward aisles are the ones that are virtually empty. And so being able to see, knowing the layout of the mall now, seeing how you took that route right down one side, then across, and then up the other side, and completely missed those full aisles in the middle.
Running a store at New Horizon presents some challenges, Cory says, not the least of which is the lack of regular and steady foot traffic.
Could always use more customers. That's, of course, always every store can can say that, but certainly a challenge here.
But he says being a shopkeeper at New Horizon also has a few upsides.
The overhead is fantastic for how low it is. I think that's what draws a lot of first-time business owners, new immigrants, things like that, to have a store here, is that it is dirt cheap compared to being in, say, Cross Iron Mills, across the road there, or in a mall in the city. This is a fraction of the cost of that. Plus, we're in Rocky View County, so we don't have a lot of the city overhead.
Cory agrees that New Horizon has a reputation problem, but that the characterization of it as being a dead mall is playing into a narrative that has persisted since the mall's opening.
Yes. The mall very definitely has that reputation of being the dead mall, which, fair enough at the beginning when there weren't virtually any stores here. Yes, but it's been several years from that now, and there's stores opening up here every month now. There's been, just in my particular corridor here, there's been 5 new businesses in the last 2 months that have opened up. So their reputation is out there, and when you Google it, the first things that pop up are these videos on how this is a dead mall that reinforce that perception of the mall.
Cory says that because of that reputation, it's up to the individual shop owners to connect with their potential customers and draw them to the mall.
That reputation that, this is a dead mall, there's nothing to see here, still carries over, and there aren't those big draws yet that can bring a lot of people here. So the onus is really on the store owners to connect with the markets that would be interested in what we're selling.
In my previous video, I went looking for a dead mall, and I found one, and I don't deny that that's the intent I had the first time I visited New Horizon. But Cory took issue with the way I presented some of the things I filmed that day, and he said so in the comments.
Well, yeah, it's always interesting to see journalistic techniques, and understanding that journalism is, especially nowadays, well, probably always, but especially nowadays it seems, more about crafting a narrative than necessarily telling all the facts. So it's seeing which route you took, seeing which parking lot you decided to film from. The one on the south side of the building that is less full because people usually park at the one at the north side because that's the first thing they see, so they park at that parking lot. So seeing it playing into that narrative of, how do we make this mall look like it's dead? Because going down the central aisle and seeing all the full stores, coming at times of day or times of the week where there's more customers around, and therefore more the stores are open, that doesn't fit that narrative.
I'm not sure I want to describe anything I do on this channel as journalism. I was a journalist for many years, and in my videos I try to be as honest and factual as possible, but like any other creator, everything that I upload is accented by opinions and preconceptions and biases. I mean, no artist or creator or journalist or writer or anything can be completely objective. Everything that they present to you and everything that they post is filtered through their own personal lens. But more to Cory's point, I've only ever been inside New Horizon twice, whereas he runs a shop there. So he has a lot more insight into the daily ins and outs than I do, which is why I'm grateful he took the time to share his perspective on camera. It's a matter of fact to say that there are corridors of New Horizon that are empty, and there are literally hundreds of storefronts vacant and up for sale or for lease. There's also a populated main drag of stalls along the center of the mall that is mostly occupied with services and shops that stock items you might not be able to find at more conventional stores. So, is New Horizon a dead mall? I don't really know the answer to that. At best, it's Schrodinger's mall, alive and dead at the same time based on any number of opinions and interpretations. Like everything else, it just really depends on how you look at it. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some of my other content. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.